welcome back to Weekly Chat. It's been a while since I've done this, 2 weeks to be precise, so I'm going to roll this all up into a bumper edition of Weekly Chat. And hey, I'm actually getting out on Wednesday in the middle of the week like most people do, so that's a plus. But I'll be doing last week's topics and this week's topics, so I'll try and remember them. I don't have them written down anywhere, and I'll be obviously just paraphrasing them as well. So last week's topics. Bugger. See, when you forget one, then you forget the rest of them. The Star Wars films. When you watch the Star Wars films, do you watch them in order of the episode or order of release? So do you watch, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, then go back to Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Return of the Jedi, in the order they were released? Or do you do it in the order of the story, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Well, last year on Star Wars Day, I think, no, it was on the anniversary of the release of the first Star Wars film last year in 2013, I watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in one sitting. It was crazy. I'd never done it before and I really wanted to do it, just to see what it would be like. If you want to hear my full thoughts on that, I'll try and leave a link to that video below in the description box. I kind of just talk about the whole experience, and for me, it was a great way to watch it, but the transition from 3 to 4 is terrible. I mean, you've been sitting through 6 hours of this just like flashy CGI and just like, all this big massive visual wonder, and then you go down to episode 4 and it's a lot more low-key and it looks better in my opinion because it looks more real, looks more lived in. It is real, it's not CGI, it's actual models. And again, this is just something that is a tired old topic at this point, but also just like imagining Darth Vader as I saw him in episode 4 in Star Wars and thinking, Hayden Christensen is inside that suit. If we're to believe the story, and I just didn't like that. It didn't sit well with me. I want to imagine Darth Vader in Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, all the way up to the end of Return of the Jedi, as just this faceless mystery, and I love the prequels. I think I really enjoy them. They're not, some of them aren't great films. I will argue that the third one is a great film, but episode 1 and parts of 2 are just really not that good. But I love them because there's Star Wars in there. I love anything Star Wars, and I look past the flaws and enjoy them for what they are. But for me, I think transition is a bit jarring. I've never tried another order. I know that there's the kind of the machete order or something like that. Or the machete order, not machete. Thinking of that stupid film. Scott Sinaran was saying about, well, I think that is the machete order, which is watching episode 4, episode 5, and then Luke finds out Darth Vader's his father, and then you go back and you do episode 1, 2, 3 is 1 6-hour flashback, and then you do Return of the Jedi. I like it in theory, but to me it's just a bit too much. It's too much of a flashback for me. I don't like it. It's too much of a gap between Empire and Jedi for me. I don't think I could do that. But for me, I always watch the original trilogy, and then just maybe the prequels. The original trilogy I can do in one day and love it. Whereas the prequels I might watch, over a week or something like that. But in watching the whole saga, I don't know if I'd do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe in the future. I don't know. The second topic, are there any films you feel like they've been miscast? Not really. I mean, I don't really like to be like the armchair critic and think, oh, this person could be better as this or whatever, but I don't know. There's really nothing I can think of where, there probably is in the back of my head somewhere that I don't know. I just don't know really. No. I was going to go to Harry Potter because I thought Richard Harris was perfect as Dumbledore in the first 2 films, but he tragically passed away, so there's nothing they could do about that. Hell, do you know what? I think Snape was miscast. Yes. And to the 50, 60 people watching this, your brains are exploding right now. But yes, I think Alan Rickman was slightly miscast as Snape. I thought he was awesome as Snape. I think he's a fantastic actor, and I think he, really embodied Snape to a high standard and did a great job throughout all 8 films, and brought the whole character arc to the whole thing. But for me, it's gonna sound really horrible, but he was just a bit too chubby to be Snape for me. I mean, I always envisioned Snape as he was written, just very thin, sallow cheeks, and just like greasy hair, I mean, his hair it wasn't quite, I don't know, when you read a book and you love a book and you see the film, it's never going to be how you imagine it. But for me, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, they were perfect for Harry, Ron and Hermione. They're absolutely perfect. Dumbledore was perfect in the first 2 films, just even little roles like what's his name, Kenneth Branagh as Lockhart. He was absolutely 100% perfect. But you know, Alan Rickman as Snape, he was kind of just 90% perfect. You know, and just wasn't quite there. There's just more of a, you know, he's very theatrical, very British theatrical. I feel the theatrical actor in him coming out like, you know, turn to page 394. You know, Snape would spit that line. You know, it just, Snape was such a vindictive character and such a bastard. You know, and I just didn't. I got more of a cold bastard to Alan Rickman's Snape, and not the kind of the viper bastard that you got out of the Snape in the books. But anyway, that's all I can really think of, to be honest. I don't really look at films and think it's miscast. I don't really think that way most of the time. Though I will say, well, I don't know actually. Yeah, okay, I'll do one more just very quickly, and then we'll leave this topic. Ben Affleck is Batman. You know, I got no problem with it at all. You know, and to be honest, I'm over Batman. I'm a huge fan of Batman, but for me, they're never going to top Dark Knight Rises for, you know, the best Batman film. Well, not the best Batman film, but for the best film that has Batman in it. I still think Batman 1989 is the best Batman film because it just looks like Batman, and the visuals are just very Batman comic book-esque, whereas The Dark Knight Rises is more of a crime film with Batman in it, but I think it's an amazing film. And yes, I prefer Rises to Dark Knight, but I really think Josh Brolin should have been Batman, because to me he's such a great actor, and he has the perfect jawline. I've always said this, and I think he'd just be perfect as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I think he would have been a better fit in the new Batman Superman movie. But yeah, that's it, I guess. The third topic for last week was, I don't know, God. It's hard trying to remember the 6 topics I wrote. I should have wrote them down. Okay, I looked it up, and it was, what's the best way to display your movie collection, you know, DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. Or like, I'm not quite sure what the question is, like what would be your ideal, you know, I mean, my ideal movie collection room would be like one of those old libraries, or like old study rooms with like the dark wooden effect on all the walls, and one of those big globes, and a nice chair, and like just wall to wall, ceiling to floor, just Blu-rays, and like a ladder to swing across. I mean, you know, that's how I'd love to have my movies. But I like to have little setups, you know. I've done that before in the past, you know, like a Batman steelbook display, and I did for my Star Wars videos last year. I did like a big Star Wars display. I had like the VHS tapes, I had the Blu-ray steelbook, I had figures up on top of my shelf, I had figures on my other shelf that had films on it. So I like to do little setups like that every now and again, kind of change it up, but poster up, things like that. You know, steelbooks need to be displayed, in my opinion. In an ideal world, I display all of mine facing outwards. You know, I've got a couple of those stands that you stand them up on the shelf, and I think that's how they should really be displayed in a lot of cases. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to have some of those like proper collectibles to go along with my movies, like in the glass cabinets. I know some people have done that look really cool, like the you know, the Batman figures and stuff, like the deluxe ones. But generally, movies, you know, I like to order them by many different things. I mean, I have back home, I have like the box sets at the top, and then I have my Criterion collection and my massive cinema collection, and then I have superhero steelbooks, and then I have my entire Quentin Tarantino steelbook collection. I have every film he's made in steelbook form, and then I have all the Pixar films in steelbook form, and then I have just regular steelbooks, and then I have Sony Collector's Edition slipcovers, then I have kind of deluxe edition slip boxes, digipacks, things like that, and then I have slipcovers, then I have those kind of 3/4 length slipcovers, and then I have just the normal cases. So I guess I do it by edition, really, more than like director or genre, and every section is alphabetical as well. So I couldn't just have like slipcovers in with steelbooks and then with no slipcover cases and all. I couldn't do that at all. I like having things in order, and I know Ian is very much anti-order, as far as I can tell anyway. I just shudder every time I look at his shelves. I'm just like, oh, unbelievable. But yeah, that's my answer to that question, and this is going on a bit too long as it is. So this week's topics I'm going to blast through as quickly as I can, and hopefully I'll remember them this time. Thick cases or thin cases. Now I have a couple of examples here. I have Buster Keaton's The General. US Blu-ray, and I have Grudge Match, a UK Blu-ray. Now the UK Blu-ray is a little bit thicker than the US counterpart, as you can see. And as James was saying, like, these are kind of blockier at the top, whereas the US ones, they kind of round off a bit. I like the rounded off effect, and there is still one on the UK ones, but the UK ones are a bit blockier. Now, I just prefer the thick cases. I know that a lot of UK guys prefer the thin ones. I know Ian does, I know Matt does, Matt Kistatui, and so I had to not get a glare on that and show you there you go. I think the title just looks better on the thicker cases because you've got more there to work with, and I could never take an inlay from a UK case and put it inside a US case and just like squeeze it in there and squash it. I could never. Oh, it just makes me shudder thinking about it. And I know people who like trim the UK sleeves to fit into US cases, and just, horrible. Could never do that. You know, I don't mind these, but like this is like one of my favorite films ever, in my top 10, and it's just in a flimsy look. I mean, it just feels like as light as a feather. Whereas you compare it to like a massive cinema UK Blu-ray like this, like Sunrise, which is in my top 20 films of all time. You know, I love the clear case, I love the fact that it's a thick case, and it's got 3 discs, a booklet, it feels weighty. This feels substantial, and this doesn't, even though this is a better film. I guess it's not like these companies take that into account, but you know, and that's also my opinion, so again, it's not even worth really going into that, but I just prefer the thicker cases. I know for people who really collect a lot of movies that they prefer the thin cases so they can fit more on the shelf, but I'm never going to be someone who's going to own thousands of movies on Blu-ray. You know, there's a lot I want, but not that much, you know. I'll never be able to afford that much anyway, so it's not really a problem to me, and I like the thicker ones just because you get more on the spine and there's more room for it to look nice, I think. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. The second topic apparently comes from me. Apparently I said this to Ian, and I'm getting so many messages. Apparently I said this to Ian on Facebook. I don't remember this, but he's taken it as a topic anyway, so Ian, my lawyers will be in touch with you as soon as possible. But the topic is, has YouTube, you know, being on YouTube broadened your horizons and, you know, opened your eyes a bit more to films? And I'd say yes. I mean, it definitely pushed me into seeing more films I wouldn't have ordinarily seen. I think about 5-6 years ago I was really getting into films more seriously. The great summer of the VHS summer of 2009. I'm gonna have to actually just turn my sound off because someone is just texting me. Anyway, the great VHS summer of 2009. I bought probably like 200 VHS tapes from charity shops for like hardly anything, and I just had this huge wall that went from like the floor to the ceiling in my room with just VHS tapes, and I watched so many different films. I watched the Godfather trilogy for the first time on VHS in 2009, if you can believe that. But it wasn't until I started YouTube 2011 that I started getting into film videos, and then the Epic Film Challenge, which, if you don't know, very briefly, it was me and my fiance Connie. We're going to try and watch a film every day for a year, make a video every day for a year. Didn't work out that way, like we kind of miss a few days and then just like catch up on the weekend, but we did it within a year. We made 366 videos and watched 366 films. But there was no criteria for that. It was just any films, it was a free-for-all. So there'd be like absolute shite in there, like, you know, Beastly and Troll 2 and stuff like that. But also I'd make an effort to watch classic films, like The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, like Seven Samurai, you know, films I hadn't seen before that were seen as great, and I was like, wow, these films were amazing. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I got into collecting Blu-rays, and you know, along with that, Clockwork Orange and films like that, you know, and then slowly but surely I started watching more classic movies. And this year in particular, I think has probably been the most important most important year for me as a film watcher, because I've watched so many films in 2014 that I haven't watched before, that I would now call, like, you know, some of the best films I've ever seen. You know, off the top of my head, Citizen Kane. There's like a few that I watched this weekend that I won't talk about because I watched them as part of an Unseen Classics Marathon, which is going up on the Blu-ray Brothers channel today. So go check that video out if you're interested in seeing me talk about films I haven't seen before in a 1 hour long video with a couple of skits and stuff. If you like the marathon videos, you can check that out on the Blu-ray Brothers channel. But yeah, loads of films I've seen this year that I was like, wow, you know, like Citizen Kane again, Buster Keaton films, The General, Our Hospitality, Steamboat Bill Jr., Sherlock Jr., Fritz Lang films like Metropolis, Dr. Mabuse the Gambler, Dr. Mabuse, The Testament of Dr. Mabuse, no, I've already said Metropolis, Die Nibelungen, The Woman in the Moon, I mean, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. There's been so many films I've seen this year that I've been like, wow, that was just amazing. Whether it's been through my marathon videos or just generally watching films I know have been highly rated in the past. Yeah, so YouTube has definitely broadened my horizons as a film watcher because it gives me something to make a video about. And so I think, oh, if I watch that, I can talk about it in a video and I can chart my progress of watching these you know, great movies. Final topic, just blast through this one. Ghostbusters 3 apparently is going to be an all-female cast. They've been bandying about this Ghostbusters 3 for decades now. I mean, I remember back in the late 90s they were going to do it, and then it became that film Evolution, I think. In fact, one of my first DVDs I ever owned was the Blues Brothers, and it was like a double pack with the Blues Brothers 2000, and on the special features of the first Blues Brothers film, Jesus, there was a bonus feature. It was like, you know, back when like a menu was like a special feature, but the bonus feature was like filmographies and biographies of all the people in the Blues Brothers. And on Dan Aykroyd's filmography page, it listed him as being in Ghostbusters 3 in 1998. So I don't know what the hell was going on there, but obviously there were something was happening around that time. I think it would have worked if they'd done it then. But I think there's too much time has passed now for them to do Ghostbusters 3 and have it mean something. And of course, Harold Ramis passed away a few months ago. There's no point doing it, and especially because Bill Murray doesn't want to do it. I mean, for me, I think of Ghostbusters, I think of Bill Murray, I think of Harold Ramis, then I think of Dan Aykroyd and Sigourney Weaver and Annie Potts and Rick Moranis. I think of those guys, and I don't know, without them it just wouldn't seem right. If they're going to make it, then, you know, they're going to make it, and they're going to want to try and exploit the name of Ghostbusters, which has been a very lucrative you know, moneymaker over the years, and they're going to want to try and milk as much as they can out of it. And if they make a film that has the Ghostbusters name there, you know, it stands to reason they're going to make more money, so they're going to try and do it. If it is an all-female Ghostbusters kind of cast, do it. I don't care, just do it. I mean, it's not going to have any you know, really not good today with words. I don't know what it is. I'm usually I can find a word quite quickly. It's not going to have any what's the word I'm thinking of? It's not going to have any impact. It's not going to have any impression on the original films. They're always going to stand the test of time. You know, I'm a big fan of the first one and the second one. The first one's one of my favorite films ever. But you know, they're going to do it, so just do it. I don't care. I'll watch it. I'll see what it's like, but I'm not going to hold any hope that it's going to be great or in the spirit of the originals. You know, I agree with what James was saying about Melissa McCarthy. I think she would be terrible in that. I mean, I wouldn't like to see her. And I think the original question was, who would you cast? I'd go with people who is probably going to be unpopular choices, but you know, I'd go with, like, say, Jennifer Lawrence, who I think is very good comedically. Emma Stone, I know James will absolutely hate that, but I think she'd fit in perfectly. Her kind of humour would work within that kind of framework of the Ghostbusters. You know, I guess like someone like Kristen Wiig, or who else is there? Someone else I'm thinking of. I think it was who James was mentioning, Tina Fey. There's some funny women out there. You could definitely do it. You know, Sigourney Weaver would have to be involved for me, I think, if they're going to do like an all-female thing. But you know, even if they've got Dan Aykroyd there, even if they've got Ernie Hudson and Rick Moranis, Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver, they're not going to have Bill Murray, they're not going to have Harold Ramis, and to me those are the two best characters in the whole franchise, so it's not going to be the same. And you know, if they do it, whatever. I'm not going to lose my shit over it or get angry about it. It's just what it is. You know, sometimes a lot of the times they take these franchises and they reboot them and they remake them and they repackage them and they re-promote them and stick them out there and shove it down our throats, and we've got to sit there and take it, really, or just ignore it. So I'll definitely see it if it comes out, but I just think that ship sailed, you know, before I was even born, probably. I mean, you know, well, no, not really, but you know, many years ago. That I think they've missed the opportunity to do it. And so that's what it is. The two films will stand the test of time, and they'll be, you know, classics to be remembered for years to come. And it is what it is. You can't keep, you know, expecting things to happen, and you know, sometimes it does, and you get this sequel after 20 years, like Dumb and Dumber or something. But for the most part, I think you should just leave those things as they are, and not kind of go, you know, maybe taint the legacy. Well, I don't think it would taint the legacy, actually. I don't think a Ghostbusters 3 would taint the legacy. It would just be another version, another iteration of it, and it'll be what it is, and that's that. So there you go, that's my weekly chat, my bumper edition. I'm really not happy with this video, actually. I just haven't really found the right words I want to use to express my points, and I haven't really had any strong opinions either, I don't think. But I don't know, you let me know. I'm going to post it anyway because I just want to get it out there and get it done. And I'll definitely be back next week with hopefully a more coherent and cohesive weekly chat, so you can look forward to that. And also check out my Burbs Steelbook unboxing video, which I'll also be posting today, and the Unseen Classics Marathon video today on the Blu-ray Brothers channel. Loads of videos from me today, you lucky, lucky people. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
He says he's really cool, but I think he's a tool. Even though I'm sure he's a quite nice guy, really. He's a quite nice guy, really.